But considering how serious that case is, why do you think it's not getting much traction despite its grave implications?
Yeah, I think that it's for the same reason why Francis Atute will be in prison and Atiku's daughter is still walking free despite confessing that she stole money alongside Atute. I think that it's for the same reason why William Jefferson in the US would, at the risk of going to prison, confess that he and Atiku had some monkey business, but William Jefferson is in prison, Atiku is still free today. There are forces beyond my control. My duty starts and ends with saying what I have to say, the truth that I know. Because if there's anything anybody can say about me in this life, the one thing you cannot say is accuse me of lying against people. I don't do that. And everything I put forward was a fact. People know that it was a fact. The agencies know that it's a fact. In fact, at this point, I might even have to blame government, because it is within their purview to compel their agencies, enforcement agencies, to handle the issues. Why this hasn't been done, I do not know.
Yes, but some NGOs called on organizations like EFCC, CCB, and ICPC to probe Atiku over corruption allegation you made. So how well will you say this is being done?
Nothing has been done. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed. My life has been threatened. Myself and my children, we have been in exile. I had to run out of my own country. I have a 3-year-old daughter. I have a 19-year-old. They cannot go to school because we have to be hiding our heads. Because I blew a whistle. And then this is why the common Nigerian does not have any confidence, in the institutions that are supposed to be the last hope, of common Nigerians. Because I do not understand why for all of 10 months now, the case has not made any progress. But, well, I hope that after now, government will begin to look into it.
All right. We're very hopeful about that as well. So, let's get back to the certificate issue. Atiku said he's digging into President TINUBU'S academic record for the sake of the country. But as his former aide, do you see this as such or a sort of personal vendetta?
At this point, you see, I've been a victim of, false allegations before. So it's why I've always been an advocate of hearing both sides of a matter. I have always spoken up against the dangers of a single story, Now, at this point, there are times when people know the truth that this mission they are on is a journey to nowhere. They know it, but because of the vengeful spirit, sometimes it's disappointment, sometimes it's envy and jealousy, they determine to embarrass. Even when they know that there's no justice to be had, the only mission is to embarrass. It has happened to me before. And that is why even if I do not like a person, and no matter what the crowd says, because see, in my experience, the fact that several people come out and say a thing together doesn't mean that guarantee that they are right. And so if, in a court of law, even a confessed armed robber still has a right to fair hearing, I see nothing wrong with, some people saying, look, even if you believe that what Atiku is saying about the president, allow, this process take its full course. The case is before the Supreme Court. Let's wait for the judgment, by the Supreme Court. And people are getting angry. In fact, yesterday, I was on another TV station. I was asked this question about my personal opinion. And in order to be fair to everybody concerned, because the truth is that no matter the position I hold in my heart, I must be sensitive to the feelings of every Nigerian. And so I said something that I will not have a personal opinion about this because my opinion might even be seen as biased. In any case, my personal opinion has no influence on the matter. The truth is that there are only two perspectives that matter in this whole thing. Chicago State University, who have confirmed that the president of Nigeria. Because you see, unknown to most people, I also wrote to that school several months ago when this thing had started brewing up at the time. I sent an email to the school. I think it was around the time that Reno Omopri was claiming to have gone to the school in Chicago. I wrote them, and CSU replied me that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is president of Nigeria, did indeed, attend and graduate from that school. I kept it to myself. It's only very recently I even tweeted that, I wrote the school, but I will not put out my findings, Now, Atiku's only aim at this point has to be identified by everyone as just, a vendetta to embarrass the person of the president. But in the end, that doesn't really matter because I don't know what the outcome will be in court. So we wait for the Supreme Court to pass judgment. Another thing I noticed too is sometimes, even when Nigerians are angry, it shouldn't still take away our objectivity. I noticed that the judge in the matter in US stated that they had received a lot of emails from Nigeria, but that their judgment will not be influenced or driven or motivated by social media opinion. People hailed that judge, that statement she made. But when the Chief Justice of the Nigeria's own Supreme Court also said the same thing, people got angry. So it means that I've come to realize that, people have already made up their minds what side to take. It doesn't matter whether that side is the truth, the fact or not. Their minds are just made up. And that is not healthy for us as a nation.
All right. So, some have described this move as a plan to get the presidency through the back door. How will you react to that? And some have also said this move is an embarrassment on the country as a whole.
Well, Atiku will never be president of Nigeria. Of that, I'm sure, because I know that he did not even win the election itself. And again, I mostly try to avoid dropping personal opinions on issues that I'm not an authority about, especially legal issues, because my knowledge about some of these things are a little bit limited, and I'm not ashamed to admit it. For instance, I got a little bit confused last week when Ruben Abati, stated something that the case of that forgery and identity theft, which are what is really, really trending on social media, are not in the petition before the court. I can't verify that, but he said so. I still have the video. So it leaves me wondering if forgery is not before the Supreme Court or in a petition, what is exactly? So I think that Atiku's lawyers might not have not been very fair to him. And also, I have read different hot takes from lawyers supporting all the different sides. So it leaves common people like us in a very confused state. So I have, adopted a wait for the Supreme Court approach.
All right.
And that is what we will do. I think that's the right thing for everybody to do, yes.
All right, but from your own personal view, what difference do you think this evidence being brandished by Atiku will make on the case at the Supreme Court?
I don't even know that the Supreme Court will accept fresh evidence on this matter. In the history of presidential election petitions in Nigeria, I don't think, I stand to be corrected, but I don't think that fresh evidence has ever been accepted, at the Supreme Court level. It's going to be a very rare. I'll be surprised if they bet. On a personal note, I would like for it to be accepted, so that we can hear the interpretation of the law on this issue. So at the end of the day, everybody, when the court has given its judgment, nobody will have any reason to cry foul. I would love to see that happen.
All right, so let's move away from all this and talk about the president's 4 months in office. How will you describe or rate President Tinubu's performance since he assumed office? Did you get my question, Mr. Michael?
I can't hear you. No, I didn't get you. Please, can you come again? How
will you describe or rate the president's performance since he assumed office?
Okay. It's work in progress. It didn't matter who won the election. whether Peter Obi had won, whether Atiku had won, whether Kwankwanso or anybody else had won. Everybody knew before now that it was always going to be a very tough one. Nothing good comes easy. Are there things that should have been handled better? Yes, absolutely. But one thing that has surprised me about this president is, contrary to even my personal expectation, I noticed that he listens. He's not ashamed or afraid sometimes to say, look, the people are complaining about these things. Could I have made the wrong step? I remember when the issue of distributing 8,000 naira, to indigent Nigerians came up the other time. There was people, even members of APC, complained massively about it on social media, and the president, did a U-turn. He reviewed his position on the matter. I think money was given to the states, to distribute among them and take care of their people. I believe that it can be better. I believe it's going to get better. A lot of damage, a lot of things had been done wrong, and everything is a process. I remember reading a tweet by one Maurice Monnier. Yes, it's an old tweet by him. It's a Peter Obi supporter. I just came across that tweet yesterday. He had written it with regards to an Atiku presidency in 2019. And he said, it doesn't even matter if someone else becomes president. It cannot take less than 2 years to begin to repair the wrong that had been done. So I believe that, we still need to be patient, but hold the president accountable. I believe that he will get it right eventually.
All right. Thank you so much. I've been speaking with Michael Achimugu, former aide to the former Vice President, Atiku Abubakar. Tonight, we got his perspective on matters arising in President Tinubu versus Atiku saga. Thank you so much for coming on Politics Tonight. Thank you so much.